10 anime characters who are OP in unconventional ways. Number 10 Seiya Kanie, Amagi Brilliant Park. Seiya Kanie thinks that the OP thing about him is his looks. He's convinced that he's pretty much the most beautiful person to ever exist. But while he is your typical cute Kyoto animation boy, his real talent lies in theme park management. Despite being a high school student, he's somehow able to turn Amagi Brilliant Park from a sad wasteland with almost no customers to a thriving business over the course of only 3 months. This would be a nearly impossible task under almost any circumstances. But he's doing this at the same time as maintaining his school career and absorbing the fact that the park's employees are denizens of a magical world. Number 9 Bulma Briefs, Dragon Ball Z. DBZ is full of OP characters, but the ones who usually get credit are the ones who can fight. Let's take a moment to appreciate Bulma, one of the most intelligent characters in the show. At 16, she invents the Dragon Radar, a crucial tool for picking up the electromagnetic waves emitted by Dragon Balls. In an alternate timeline, she's able to build a time machine that sends her son Trunks back to the past. Many of the major events in the series would not have been possible without her technological genius. Number 8 Yukihira Soma, Food Wars. Cooking isn't a superpower, but Yukihira Soma sure makes it seem like one at Tutsuki Academy, an elite school that specializes in culinary battles. He picked up his cooking chops from watching his father, an elite chef, and through relentless practice. In his first year at school, he earned the first seed of the Elite 10, something that pretty much never happens for first-year students. He's a master of Japanese cooking, and cooks excellent meals from other cultures as well. Oh, and did we mention that he cooks so well that he can literally make people orgasm when they eat his food? Because that's a thing, too. Number 7 Yumeko Jabami, Kakegurui. Yumeko Jabami, a transfer student at Hyakao Private Academy, seems like a sweet, innocent girl at first, but as it turns out, she's a total gambling fiend. That's just perfect for the school she attends, which turns into a high-stakes casino at night. Gambling involves luck, but it also involves some serious strategic thinking. Yumeko surprises all of the top gamblers at her school by wiping the floor with them, exhibiting a set of skills that it hardly seems reasonable for one person to have. Her only potential downfall is the fact that she's almost turned on by taking risks, and sometimes gets herself into dangerous situations where she could lose her life or something else precious by losing a bet. Number 6 Lawliet, Death Note. L's physical skills are moderate, yeah, he's okay at tennis and he apparently knows capoeira. But he also spends every waking moment chowing down on sugar, and doesn't seem to move or sleep much otherwise. While he's more physically fit than you'd expect given his lifestyle, his real skill isn't in fighting, it's in his brain. L is known as the greatest detective in the world technically. The greatest 3 since the number 2 and number 3 detectives are his aliases due to his long history of solving seemingly impossible cases. His mental prowess is how he ends up working for the Kira investigation, but sadly, it isn't enough to see him through to the end. Number 5 Eri, My Hero Academia. Eri's quirk, Rewind, is incredibly powerful, but because she's a little girl and doesn't know how to handle it yet, she can't really use it in combat. Basically, she can't rewind any living being, leaving them in a previous state. This means that she can do anything from eliminate an injury by restoring a person to the time when they weren't injured to making them significantly younger than they once were. Chisaki, the man who forced her to undergo painful experiments so that he could use her DNA to create quirk-destroying drugs. Thinks that she could even rewind humanity as a whole back to before quirks ever existed in the first place. Number 4 Sora and Shiro, no game no life. Sora and Shiro are the two members of the unbeatable gaming team blank. The two of them are so skilled at video games that others in the gaming world are scared to approach them. Sadly, those skills only exist because they're too afraid to actually go outside and interact with others, so they ring a little hollow. But their talents are put to good use when they're transported to the world of Disboard, a world in which every decision is made through gaming. The two manage to become political leaders almost immediately thanks to their world-class gaming skills. As a result, they gain the respect and adoration they never got in their original world. Number 3 Sakamoto, haven't you heard I'm Sakamoto? Sakamoto is totally OP in just about everything pertaining to daily life. He's a charming, cool, talented person who earns the admiration of everyone around him. Being good at these things wouldn't necessarily put most people in the OP category, but that's actually the whole point of his character. Whether he's blowing bubbles with exceptional skill or getting perfect grades, he's the envy of his female classmates and a source of jealousy for his male ones. Even his weird poses are somehow kind of amazing. He's OP mundane style. When he decides to become an astronaut at the end of the series, nobody thinks this is beyond him. Though they do take the opportunity to pie him in the face for some reason. Number 2 Shikamaru Nara, Naruto. Shikamaru is skilled in the physical abilities of taijutsu and ninjutsu, but where he truly shines is something less direct, it's his strategic mind. As a child, he does poorly in school because he's 10 steps ahead of the rest of the class and is bored out of his mind. But once he's actually given a genuine challenge, he's able to come up with strategies that actually work. The best example of this is when he plans a method of luring Hidan into a trap set in the Nara forest, and keeps him immobilized in that space for the rest of his immortal life. Thanks to Shikamaru's strategic skills, he ends up working as the Hokage's chief aide during Boruto. Number 1 Senku Ishigami, Dr. Stone. Like many of the characters on this list, what makes Senku Ishigami OP is his intelligence. But his intelligence is truly out of this world. After being petrified for thousands of years, he managed to count the seconds for all of that time. In order to keep track of how long he'd been frozen and make sure that he wouldn't become unpetrified in the middle of winter. Once released, he not only managed to feed himself, build a shelter, and otherwise survive, he managed to figure out how to undo the petrification in the first place. Later, with the help of Ishigami Village, he started churning out invention after invention using the materials around him. He recreates everything from Coca-Cola and ramen to electricity, cell phones, and antibiotics. You'd think that someone with this level of scientific knowledge would have to have multiple PhDs or something. But all Senku has is a partial high school education and his own brain.
Refer to Ranker.com.